I've been reading Awakening the Child's Mind, and I came across in one of the chapters, it's really interesting, and I just had never given it much thought before, that you really should be sitting with your kids while they're watching their cartoons. Because especially at a young age, they don't know what is true and what is not and what is fiction and what applies to real life. And I mean, I think about some families where they've cut out certain cartoons because kids were taking on certain attitudes that they didn't want. So by watching these cartoons with them, you can put things in perspective for them. Not only can you guide which cartoons or which programs they're watching, and they might be more learning oriented and stuff, but you're also allowing to add some perspective, being like, oh, well, that wasn't really friendly. How do you think that made them feel? Or that was pretty rude. So that they have some gauge of what it's like compared to the real world. Because when I think about it, like, kids under 3 know what a commercial is. Like, they know it's different than their regular program that they're watching, but they don't actually realize till 8 that the purpose of the ad is to sell them something, to get them to buy something. Until then, they're just like, oh, that's cool. I think they were trying to be really helpful. So by being able to sit with your child and interact, and there's so many learning opportunities that can come from watching a TV show if you're present and willing to be aware and put the time in. So being mindful of what your kids are watching and knowing, and that applies to YouTube too. I look at some kids and I'm like, wow, where'd you learn that? Like, that's way above where I think I might be just behind the times, but I'm like, wow. And it's just because some YouTube has popped up in their feed and there is no guidelines around what they're watching. So out of all of this, become aware of what your kids are watching. Spend some time talking about what they're watching with them. And for other tips, hit subscribe. Join my private Facebook group for parents. Send me a private message and I will gladly add you to that. You can check out my website at katrinamallon.com. You've already found me on Inspirational Futures in YouTube, and I hope to see you next week.